Napoleon Harris is a Democrat senator who sits just a couple desks away from me in Springfield, and a guy that understands business. He owns a couple of pizza franchises. He was a professional football player. He understands something about business, and we've become fairly good friends. I asked him if he would sponsor it, and he's on the Transportation Committee too. And he said yes, so we got him. We got Karen McConaughey, who is the minority spokesperson on the Transportation Committee, to also sponsor it, and Steve Landeck signed on. So we had a pretty good, diverse group. But the first thing that happened was the Assignments Committee didn't assign it to the Transportation Committee. They assigned it instead to the Executive Committee, which is controlled by President Cullerton. And I was told that President Cullerton probably is not going to take very kindly to the speed limit bill, and that's probably why it went there. As it turned out, John Cullerton takes new representatives out to dinner, and it was kind of my turn. So I, at the end of dinner, talked to him. I said, you know, we've got this bipartisan good government legislation. Do you think this could go to the Transportation Committee? He said, yeah, okay. And moved it over to the Transportation Committee. We had a meeting then with IDOT, with the state police, and everybody else that we thought might be opposed. Again, Senator Sandoval's experience really paid off, because he was able to take Ann Schneider, the head of IDOT, outside of the room and talk to her, convince her not to support it, which we knew wasn't going to happen, but at least we reached an agreement to make some adjustments to satisfy them, to satisfy the state police, so that they wouldn't aggressively oppose it.
What would they be opposing in a bill that's increasing the speed limit, which actually helps gas and expediency?
Well, increasing the speed limit probably doesn't help gas. It probably is a little bit less efficient. But their argument is they wanted to keep the speed limit as low as possible, and I think Governor Quinn has argued for lower speed limits and so on. And of course, you can take it to the extreme and have a speed limit of 20 miles per hour and have very few accidents. But you have to somehow balance the efficiency with that. And I brought studies from Purdue University that showed when Indiana increased their speed limit from 65 to 70 in interstates, there was no related increase in accidents or fatalities. So it gave us some pretty good academic evidence to support it. In any event, we got it sort of an agreement with IDOT, thanks to Senator Sandoval. We got it to the Transportation Committee. It passed the committee 10-1. Then it went to the Senate. We had to figure out how to get majority support in the Senate. I went to every single individual senator, told them why I thought it was good, gave them the study from Purdue, and ended up getting 30 of our senators to sign on as co-sponsors on that bill. Now, there's 59 senators, so if you got 30 sponsors, you got a pretty good chance of getting a majority. And we did. In fact, it passed 44-6. But then you've got the House to worry about. And unfortunately, we had a very young freshman representative who picked up the bill in the House and had no chance of passing over there. I went to him and I said, look, this has to be a bipartisan bill. We have to have Democrat support. Would you allow a Democrat to be the lead sponsor in the House instead? And he said, yeah, I just think it's good government. His name is C.D. Davidsmeyer, nice young man, and he agreed to turn it over to the right man. I then went from there, literally knocked on Speaker Madigan's door and said, can I meet with the Speaker? Surprisingly, they let me in. And I sat down with Mike Madigan, explained why I thought it was a good bill, and it was not Republican, it's bipartisan, it's good for the state. And I asked if he would assign a Democrat to lead the charge in the House. He said he'd get back to me. And several days later, Jerry Costello picked up the bill, and I was told Jerry is close to Speaker Madigan, so that was probably a good thing. And Jerry worked the Democrat side in the House. C.D. Davidsmeyer and I worked the Republican side in the House. Again, talked to as many people as we possibly could, got as many sponsors as we could. And we were hoping to get a veto-proof majority because we were afraid the governor would veto it. We had it in the Senate. We needed 71 in the House. Jerry Costello said he was pretty sure he'd pass, and he thought he had 67, 68, 69 votes. He hoped he'd get over 71, but he wasn't sure. Final vote was 88-30, which gave us a significant veto-proof majority.
Gee, that's great.
And it's now on the governor's desk. Hopefully he will sign it and let it go.
It's a very interesting story about how the process works. It was not only the bill, but the process.
The process.
Right, exactly. It was educational to me. I learned a lot.
Now, and that is a policy that serves the people.
Exactly.
And that's what good governance is
right.
Policy that serves the people, all people, not Democrat people, not Republican people. Now, Jack, I know this is your passion, is the pension crisis. Do you think, Senator Oberweis, that other legislators actually understand the compelling debt that we have here in Illinois?
I think they sort of know that's out there, but they don't have any economic background on which to measure and understand it in depth. And this pension crisis is Jack's passion. It's also my passion. It's really the reason that I ran for the Illinois Senate. I was not looking for a life change job that would be an Illinois
This wasn't
senator.
a midlife crisis thing where you just said, I think I want to do something different with my life, huh?
Not at all. I was naive enough to think that maybe I could make a difference on the pension situation in Illinois. And so far, it's been very, very difficult to do. I've certainly voiced my opinions, and as you probably know now, we have set up a conference committee between the House and the Senate. And I asked to be appointed to that committee because guess what? I understand something about pensions. Jack had mentioned the dairy background, but the truth of the matter is I spent most of my working career in the financial services business, having started a stockbrokerage firm, a money management company, and a family of mutual funds. I understand pensions and I understand economics very, very well. So I asked to be appointed to the committee, and I was told that, well, no, I might be too likely to freelance. Now, exactly what that means, I'm not sure, but I think what that meant was I might come up with an independent idea that might be interesting, but might not be acceptable to leadership. So no, we don't want that kind of interference. So I have not had an opportunity to serve on that conference committee, but I hope they come up with some good ideas.
Jim, what bothered, I've been on this pension thing. Where's our book here? Illinois pension scam. We've been publishing the salaries of all of the teachers in Illinois,
yes,
all of the administrators for over 15 years. Because it became apparent to me that the big overarching problem you got in the state of Illinois that affects everything else that's going on,
yes,
is the pension problem.
Right. Because
the money they take from the teachers in dues is about $130 million a year. And 80% of that is nothing but politics, and the Beck decision from the U.S. Supreme Court says the dirty rascals in the union, CIA, I think they're a bunch of snots that have ruined the state. Here I am using really rotten words beyond the dignity of this August assemblage and what we're trying to do. But the IEA is so bad, and the other ridiculous union in Chicago, you only need to see them on the street here in Wisconsin and say to yourself, these are the people that are teaching my kids. There's got to be something wrong here. But they have debauched the whole state with this thing.
But Jack, let me just back up just a second. Yeah. First of all, I started my career after graduating from the University of Illinois as a teacher. My mother was a teacher and a principal. My sister was a teacher. My daughter, Trish, is a professor at SIUE, and I have a stepson who is now, he got a master's in education at Harvard. He's now teaching on the south side of Chicago in a charter school. I believe that I have a close connection with education. I think we have many very good teachers, very dedicated teachers in Illinois. It's not the average teacher that's created this problem.
Not at all. In fact, I've been working with a National Right to Work Committee on this very problem since about 1970. That's a long time that the law of the land has been somehow held back by the stinking teachers union, the stinking IEA, the Illinois Miseducation Association. Folks, they are the fellas that and women in that union, not the teachers. The teachers are the ones that are being really
I'd say hoodwinked.
They've been hoodwinked. Well, they've been bought off by salaries and pensions that were unrealistically high and cannot be continued.
Right.
The amount of money that we pour into education, the average in the whole state is $16,000 per year, and that doesn't include the outrageous cost of the pensions. But just operating the school system, you and I should go into the education business all by ourselves. If only we could get that $16,000 a year per child. So
We
how
probably
many kids
wouldn't
would
need
you?
it, though.
How many kids are you going to put in a room? 20? That means we get over $300,000 a year for teaching a little group of kids. Now the teacher makes on the average $60,000. I can get you the room with heat and light and air conditioning and all of that stuff for about $15,000 a year.